Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of MUNTALKS. I'm Yazan, your host for today's episode, and joining me today are two of the four Secretary Generals that managed to pull off one of the best conferences the Jeddah MUN community has ever witnessed. If you didn't guess yet who am I talking about and which conference, I am talking about Reda Khalil and Khaled Saif, AGSMUN. First of all, I want to welcome you guys. It's an honor having you guys, and hopefully we'll have some fruitful discussions.
Thank you, Yazan. It's an honor to be on this episode, and we're excited to work with you.
Thank you, Ethan. It's an honor, and I'm really excited for this episode. Thank you for having us.
Alhamdulillah. So now we all know why we're here. We want to see the behind the scenes and hear some stories of AGSMUN. How long did it take? But we want to hear from you guys' experience, from your guys' backstory from level one, basically. Khalid Sef, if you don't mind, can you share your background and how you got involved in Modern United Nations? What was your first conference, where it was? Go ahead.
Well, Ethan, it all started in one of my math classes with our Ramian director, Mr. Ahmed Said, which I want to give him a shout out from here. He just asked me, Khalid, you love debating, or in other words, you love talking too much. And I told him, yes, Mr. I do. And he told me, you love history and you love politics. I told him, yes, I do. And he said, okay, let me introduce you to the MUN and what's an MUN. So I entered the AGSMUN club, which was in its second year as a club. It had only 12 to 13 members, day by day, session by session. We had our first conference as a school, which it was Model MUN KSA. It was an online conference. I was a delegate of Bahrain. I remember I was contacting with the consulate of Bahrain in Jeddah. I wanted to ask him about the topics. I had a meeting with him. What should I say? What shouldn't I say? He helped me too much with it. I remember that I didn't really understand what's an MEN. Yes, I understand there's speeches, we're going to debate on a topic, but I didn't actually understand the resolutions. I didn't understand the motions. So it was a bit hard for me at the beginning. But I just wanted one aim, that after it, we're going to be chosen by our director, who are the delegates who are going to go to C4C conference, which was in New York. So I was really excited for that point, and alhamdulillah, I was chosen. So that's my background, and this is how I started.
On a scale of 1 to 10, Khalid, how would you rate your confidence in your first conference? How would you rate it?
Let me say it was 3 to 4. I was scared to raise POIs or motions. I felt that everyone is going to judge me about my POIs or motions, especially with having the director in that meeting. He was watching us. So I was a little bit afraid from the words that I'm going to say. But alhamdulillah, day by day, I felt more brave. I felt more confident of myself. And that's the big change.
MashaAllah. Rada, how about you? Can you share your background and how you got involved in the Modern Nations?
So honestly, for me, joining the MUN was something actually quite sudden. It was actually my first year being an AGS student, last year in 9th grade. So I didn't want to get involved in anything too much of a headache. It only started to become like a possibility when I had two of my teachers, Mr. Hamza and Mr. Ahmed Sayed, constantly telling me, join the MUN club, join the MUN club. So after discussing it with them and with one of our principals, Mr. Kafah, I took the decision to join because I really had nothing to lose back then. So after the first few meetings, I have to say I was actually quite confused about everything. But after a week or two of me joining, they announced that a few of us would be taken on a trip to New York. And luckily, like Khalid also mentioned earlier, I was one of the delegates who was chosen to be taken on that trip. So that got me really excited, and I continued in the field.
Were you guys friends back then? Did you guys know each other?
No.
Not at all. Not at
Oh,
all. Yeah, I was saying what this guy that came from AISG out of nowhere, and
oh,
yeah, and is here. I actually didn't know Reda. I only known him.
We only got to know each other because when you first joined the MUN club at our school, basically
mm,
the system was you have to get 2 recommendation letters from 2 of the current delegates. So one of the members, which I got a recommendation letter from, was Farid, and
mm-hmm.
another one was Khaled. That was
Okay.
actually our first conversation. So I was like, "Hey, I'm a student in 9th grade in AGS, and I'm gonna be joining the MUN club, so I need someone to write me a recommendation letter, and so on." So that was actually how we actually first met.
Actually, that is really, really wonderful. Now look at you guys now. Now you guys have numerous awards, and it's actually really amazing. So
Alhamdulillah.
this is actually might be a tough question for you guys, but what is your favorite let's say achievement other than the AGSMUN? Like, what is your favorite award, or what is your favorite conference, maybe? Starting with Khaled, if you don't mind.
Other than ages, Samian, let me say, of course, the trip to New York and the C4C toll.
Mm,
I got an honorable mention as a delegate because of the going to New York and the idea. That trip was amazing. But the second conference, let me say, a conference that happened earlier, which it was 404 MEN.
mm,
Um, it was really fun, 3 day well organized conference. I want to thank DB about.
mm.
I loved the committee. I loved the vibes of the committee, and of course, chairing besides Reda, it's something else. 404, it was a top conference for me.
That's really nice. What about you, Rada? What is your favorite conference, or what is your favorite award? They
Well, for me, as expected, I don't want to be repetitive, but I have to say it. The New York conference was something.
mm,
It was something different. From the moment we first landed off the plane, and everyone said, like, "Wow, we're here,"
mashallah.
and till the moment we came back to Jeddah, it was just a week that, like, I can't really describe in words. Like, it was absolutely amazing. But other than that, if I had to say something other than C4C MUN, I
Mm.
would probably say the JAMUN conferences held in AISJ.
Oh,
Not always because of the actual conference, but because of the people.
mm.
Because it's one of the only conferences that the whole team, us as AGS, about 30 of us go together to. So it's just a time for us to bond. In other conferences, we have like maybe 10 of our delegates from our club at each conference, sometimes 4, sometimes 12, whatever. But those conferences we always go together, so it's actually quite fun.
I'm sure that's wonderful. Now we all can agree on the best feeling that you can get in an MUN conference is having your first award, and I'm sure that's something we can all agree on. Khalid, Saif, what was your first award, and how was that like? How did that feel for you? Did your confidence just like get boosted up right after, or just like walk us through?
Well, my first award was in C4C in New York. Um, I didn't sleep at that night because
Oh,
having the confidence that my parents just letting me go in a school trip and not our first aim is the conference and to achieve that award,
mm,
especially by representing the United Arab Emirates, which I'd love to represent an Arabic country and a Muslim country.
mm.
I just feel the case more. I feel the country more. I feel I am one of that citizen of this country. So it was a wonderful and a happy moment for me. And I was with raising the Saudi flag there, wearing the traditional wear of UAE, thob and shimar. It was a happy and wonderful
Yeah,
moment for me. Just telling my parents that, look, I achieved that award, and seeing
mashallah,
what are the responses, it was a moment for me.
mashallah, mashallah. What about you, Rida? What was your first award, and how did that feel for you?
So my first award was also in C4C MUN
Oh,
actually.
mashallah, both of
Yeah.
you.
So it was a best position paper award.
Mm.
Obviously, I had taken a lot of time to write that position paper. I remember I basically wrote and edited it from the first day we had received our assignments up until
Oh,
the due date. So it was something which I back then didn't know how important or how unimportant it was. So I really put my all into it, and alhamdulillah, it came out with an effect.
alhamdulillah. Having a best position paper really shows your research skills. Do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10, brother? How would you rate your research skills back then? Your research skills.
Well, back then, maybe I would say about 6 or 7, but I can definitely
Mm.
say I've made a lot of progress from back then.
Alhamdulillah. Now, this is a question for both of you. What is the biggest lesson, biggest lesson, or the most important thing that you've learned in your MUN experiences or your whole MUN journey as a whole? Khaled, Saif, you want to?
Well, yes, and to be honest, in my main experiences, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from delegates. I learned a lot from the chairs. I learned a lot from admins, directors, and I really owe them much. But let's say, of course, I learned to be more brave in my words. I learned to be more confident. As also being a Secretary General, I learned how to organize and how to have a wonderful conference for more than 400 delegates, chairs, admins. So I really can't say one thing that I've learned from them, because in the past 2 years and with my MN experiences, I learned too much.
What about you, Reda? What is the biggest lesson that you learned, or the most important thing that you've learned in your whole MUN journey?
Honestly, yes, and I've learned so much. But
Mm.
if I had to narrow it down to one thing, I would say that one thing I've learned from MUN is that
Mm-hmm.
confidence is absolutely everything.
That's
So
very true.
like
Yeah.
without confidence, you can't get anywhere. And I think my boost in confidence that I've gained during MUN, it's helped me with my work, with school, and even with my friends and family sometimes.
Mm.
So I feel like that's absolutely crucial. But another thing that I learned is that if you find your passion, whether it's MUN or not, you can always make it to the top. When I first joined the MUN, I had like no hopes whatsoever. I thought that being a delegate was the farthest that I would get. But nonetheless, I went from a delegate to a trainer, to a chair, to an executive board member, to a deputy secretary general, and
MashaAllah.
inshallah, secretary general soon.
Inshallah, ya Rab. So, mashallah, now the people, around 90% of our listeners are new delegates, or like newbies, you could say, or newcomers to the MUN. Mashallah, you guys have numerous amount of awards, middle conference, one of the best conferences. What advice or tips would you give to newcomers just starting in the Model UN?
Starting with me? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so first of all, besides confidence, to be more brave, and that's a
Mm.
thing that everyone would say, research more. Researching benefits you, first of all, besides being in an MUN conference. My happy moment at the moment that I enjoy is when I research for a topic, either if I'm a chair or I'm a delegate. I really learn a lot, especially being a guy that maybe is aiming to enter the politics field or a history field. But also, I've seen many delegates that just enter a committee out of nowhere, and they think that knowing the topic without researching, they just show themselves with that. You don't want to have a shot in your head with someone that researched well.
It's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so researching is the first thing delegate should do, and they should do it well.
Mm. What about you, Rada? What was some advice or tips would you give to newcomers?
For newcomers, I would give mainly two pieces of advice.
Mm.
First of all, make sure that you prepare well. So, like Khaled said, don't go to the conference empty-handed because you really, really won't benefit anything out of that. Second of all, and most importantly for me, I would advise everyone to participate a lot, because your research is like nothing without without participation. From like a chairing point of view, I can tell you that us chairs, we prefer a delegate who speaks 10 times with dull or uninteresting facts than a delegate who speaks just once with a good fact by
Yes,
like a
exactly.
margin.
Now, this is the time where we've all been waiting for, about AGSMUN, the biggest, best conference in Jeddah. So, can you guys please tell us about the preparation process for AGSMUN from start to finish? I've heard it took you guys like more than 3 months, or how many months did it take you to AGS?
Not about 9, Reda, or 10.
Yeah, nine.
Yeah,
10.
not 9, 10 months. Yeah.
Nine.
Just walk us through the whole preparation process. What you guys do in the whole these 10 months? Just tell us, walk us through, Khaled.
Starting with
Well,
Khaled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, liaison, if I'm going to start from the first step to the last step, it's gonna take us 2 hours or 3 hours or more even. But let me say that it started when we were chosen as far as secretariat, me, Reda, Khalid, and Abdullah Sabban. So the first step for us is we want to introduce an MUN conference, an AGSMUN conference to our administration and directors. So we started working in our summer vacation at 10, 11, or 12 a.m. We had our online meetings, someone is there in Europe, someone is there in Morocco, and someone is, but we were having our meetings. We had our proposal, which it was about more than 30 pages. It had everything. Yeah, it had everything that someone can need. Numbers, the finance, the designs, even the certificate designs. We had it 10 months or 8 months before the conference.
MashaAllah.
So we start the year. We gave the proposal to the administration and to our main directors. Thankfully, they loved it. They loved the idea. They gave us the green light. So we started working day by day until, of course, we had our ups and downs. Every great conference has its ups and downs. So and thankfully, day by day, AGSMUN did happen. But let me say, we really started working for the conference with our preparations 6 months or 7 months before the conference. But the idea came 9 or 10 months by working for the proposal.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Reda, this is a different question for you. Since Khaled mentioned there was ups and downs in this preparing this conference, could you share some of the ups and downs that happened during that time, Reda?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think with ups and downs, it's something where you can't really specify anything. But there was a lot. Like, really, we started off by choosing like our EB, and that took us like a really long time, choosing students from the girls section and the boys section, choosing who is really the best for this position and who isn't. And it caused a lot of tension between us and between everyone. So we didn't know who was the best and who wasn't. But alhamdulillah, I can say we made the right decisions. And a quick shout out to our EB. Maybe something that really hit us was deciding the numbers, like the expenses, the right amount of delegates, stuff like that, contacting sponsors. Everything happened also fast. Because at one point you would say like, okay, we still have, let's finish this off tomorrow, and tomorrow carries on till tomorrow, carries tomorrow, and all of a sudden you have everything right in front of you. But of course many things happened out of nowhere, but we handled it, such as like random EB meetings with 5 minutes prior knowledge, or random delegates calling us at 3 a.m. But we got through it. But one point where we really went like, wow, it's coming through. It's like everything is coming through how we wanted it to come, and all of our dream is just becoming a reality. Is like probably the last 3 days before our conference. Honestly, we stayed at school from the beginning of the school day at 7:30 a.m. till like 10 p.m. at night, preparing for everything, placards, name tags, everything. We moved everything around. It was all just so much of a headache. But I think that was really, really our point where he said all those ups and downs were totally worth it.
When mentioning the EB, would you guys like to leave a message to the fellow EB members? Anything you guys want to say to them? Khalid, Saif?
Wallah, yes, and I can't thank them. I can't thank them enough.
Mm.
These guys, they worked really, really hard. We never slept at least 2 weeks before the conference. Having a first conference and first experience for us as AB, with having about 400 delegates, number of chairs, admins, everyone really they did the job and more. I mean, and they loved how that everyone, even if someone is, let's say, head of chairs, is working for an admin, someone is in another position, is working for the other thing. So everyone was helping each other, and they were joining hands just for one aim. So I really can't thank them enough. They are an EB that it will never happen again, actually. Thanks to all the EP and shout out to them all. And hopefully, we're gonna see you more in many conferences.
Inshallah. Reda, what about you? You want to share a message to the rest of the EB members?
The EB members, I really can't put my feelings towards them in words. That's also something I said during my speech, both in the closing and opening ceremonies. But really, the EB that I worked with during AGSMUN, it was truly, truly a team like no other. We really didn't know each other before we started working. But just 1 week of work together and 1 week of meetings and 1 week of assignments just made us click together so quickly. Like Khaled said, we all helped each other so much. I can recall the head of finance stepped in the place of an admin. Khaled, as an SG, he took the place of an admin in one of the committees. Aside from during the conference, not during the conference, every time one of us SGs or DSGs would give an instruction or an assignment or an order, they would all take it with the highest level of professionalism, the highest level of seriousness. So they were really, really a team like no other. I really want to name them one by one and say thank you guys, because that's gonna take ages. So really, thank you, EB. You guys were really amazing. Other than the EB, I also just want to give a shout out to our faculty advisors. They were more helpful than delegates imagined. Every time we would need something, every time we'd need a bit of help, they would always be there. So a shout out to them as well.
لا والله يعني AGSMUN was so organized and it was just amazing. I talked to your conference for sure.
Alhamdulillah.
So what do you guys think led to the success of AGSMUN? What is that one thing or top 3 things that led to the success of AGSMUN? Khalid, if you want to share some.
Well, yes, and first of all, let's say everyone that worked for AGSMUN, starting from the workers, the employees, starting from the employees of the school, the janitors, actually, and they worked really, really hard the day before the conference and the 2 days of the conference, and all the employees of AGS, and of course our school owners, that they helped us with many things, and they gave us more than we needed for this conference. And the EB, the secretariats, the admins, the delegates, the chairs, everyone that attended this conference. I mean, I would thank, of course, the delegates and the chairs for the trust to be in AGSMUN. So I really can't say 1 or 2 or 3 things that led to the success, but it's just, let me say, the teamwork and joining hands together for this conference is the main thing that led us to success.
What about you, Reda? Is there something that maybe you think that led to the success of AGSMUN?
Well, obviously, many factors built up to the success of AGSMUN, but I think there were 2 things in particular that really helped out. One thing was our desire. As a team, we had went through so much together. So it wouldn't be worth it to go through all of that and then have the conference come out as a failure, or a conference that's just normal, not a conference that's spectacular. So that's one of the reasons we made sure that everything was of like the highest quality. Another thing that helped, in my opinion, was the support that we had. Firstly, the support from the school owners and the administration members was something that truly played a major role in the conference. Secondly, the support from our colleagues, our teachers, it was absolutely amazing. Every time I'd walk around the school in the hallway, I would get asked, Reda, how's AGSMUN preparation going? Oh, when's it happening? Whatever. And everyone would always praise us and tell us how amazing we're doing. Also, aside from AGS teachers and AGS students, family members, friends from outside school, everyone, it was just amazing to see how much everyone was excited for it. So that really made us succeed.
And just to add, Yazan, if you may,
Yes, of course.
about that question, us secretariats in our first meeting, we had one aim that we want to show what is an MUN conference actually. Because sadly we're seeing now MUN conference as a pop-ups. We're seeing
exactly
that many delegates are here just to have fun, to see that confession box, or to do that punishments, or to just roam around in the breaks. But our first aim, and the first thing that we said to the owners and the administration, the directors, that we want to show that the MUN is here for an educational purpose. Education purpose makes 90% of the conference. So that's the main aim. And Alhamdulillah, I hope that we have shown to the people that MUN is here for the education purpose by AGSMUN. And that's a message, I hope that it was sent to all from AGSMUN.
Yes, of course. I'm sure it was sent, and I'm sure everyone, learned a couple of lessons from AGSMUN. It was amazing. Now, one of my favorite moments, and it was at the opening ceremony. I love how you guys got the official UN member. If you guys remember,
Yeah.
How? Please talk. It is something that blew my mind away. The way he was explaining his journey. How long did it take for you guys to convince him to come? That's actually really amazing.
Well, to start, Yazan, we really did contact with many other people that worked in the UN field. We had many great names that I really don't want to share, but it was a big and huge names. But at the last moment, they had some issues, but they were okay with the idea. They were really excited to share their experience. But with Dr. Muhammad Sabban, he's actually the father of one of our secretariats, Abdullah Sabban. So he really understands the process of an MUN, and he really loves how MUN works and how it's helpful for the students. So he was done with sharing his experience with us, and it was a pleasure to have him. Actually, he's a great man, and yeah, that's it.
I guess I'll have to be the one asking you guys, is there an AGSMUN part 2? Is there gonna be next year maybe an AGSMUN, and will you guys be there?
Well, yes, and this question should be to Reda, as you know, I'm a senior. So I mean, I really don't know in the future if I'm going to study here or I'm going to study abroad. But hopefully, if I'm going to study here, it's a pleasure to be at any position, any part of the AGSMUN, just to serve the school that I owe a lot. And I hope, Reda, I mean, he lets me enter to the school next year. And inshallah, I don't put securities that refuses to let me in.
I'll stop you at the door, Khaled.
From now, yani.
Khaled, I have one final question for you, and I got this question a lot. And this is a funny question, I believe. What is your addiction, or what is your fan page with Muhammad Abdu? Please tell us, please tell us, please. Everyone wants to know what's the secret.
Amazing question, Yazan.
I mean, Khaled Khwaita actually just threw the ball and he threw that shot and he ran away in his speech. I mean, he's a great musician.
Mhm.
Started loving this guy since my childhood. This guy, I just listened to him, whether in the sadness or in the happy moments. I listened to him before the AGSMUN conference and after the AGSMUN conference directly. So
Mhm.
this voice is just he's walking with me everywhere I go. So he's really a part of my life. So yeah, I just love this guy too
Khaled
much.
is
Yeah,
actually trying to force me to try to listen to Muhammad Abdu as well
yeah,
sometimes.
يعني رضا يا رب
Mm.
Making it. We're almost
soon, let's
there.
say soon.
Soon, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, this concludes our podcast episode. And again, it was a big honor. Alhamdulillah, all our questions were answered perfectly. You know, I loved AGS. I loved AGSMUN, and I love the Secretary Generals. You guys put a lot of effort, and mashallah, look how it turned out. You know, everyone is to this day are rating it on the top three. I'm sure you guys saw our story. You know, it was the one of the
Alhamdulillah.
conferences that won, mashallah. Again, thank you guys for joining us in this episode, and it's just an honor. Thank you guys.
Alhamdulillah, Yazan, I want to thank you for
Thank you for having
having
us, Yazan.
us.
It was a pleasure.
Of course, of course.
Thank you for having us, and it's a pleasure to answer many questions that many people maybe would want to know, especially about the AGSMUN. And I just want to make a huge shout out to the AGSMUN club at all, to our
Mm.
beloved faculty advisors, and to our administration and owners. And we hopefully gonna see you at AGSMUN part 2.
Inshallah.
And inshallah, see you next year, everyone.
Inshallah. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Yazan.